everyone, today we are on our last video of the series. We've been looking at a book in the Bible called Mark and discovering all about Jesus, God's special promised king. So far we have seen lots of people follow Jesus, but later we'll find out what happens when some hard-hearted people see Jesus do a good thing. Well, first, let's remember what happened in the last video. Remember, we were discovering what happened when Jesus told a man called Levi to follow him. Levi had a job that made him stand out to everybody else, but not in a good way. In fact, everyone around him thought he was a traitor and a dishonest person. Can you remember the job that Levi had? Here's a clue. It had something to do with money. When Jesus spoke to Levi, the tax collector, everyone was shocked. Why on earth would Jesus want a baddie like Levi to be his friend and follow him? Well, that's when Jesus says something amazing. Jesus told everyone that it was sick hearts who needed his help. Levi and the other so-called baddies knew they had sick hearts. Everyone does without Jesus. Levi followed Jesus because he knew he needed his help. But the other group, the Pharisees, thought they had healthy hearts. They thought their rules were enough to give them healthy hearts and clean lives. They thought they were good enough without Jesus. And that's just wrong. We're going to find out what the Pharisees thought about Jesus in a minute. So let's begin with our big idea. Well, for today's big idea, we are going to see what life would be like if we only had one hand that worked properly. So I'm going to try do a one-handed task and try and tie my shoelaces. Okay, let's give it a go. Okay, I got one knot. It's quite hard to tighten it and it's already come undone. Oh, right, again. Maybe I can use my teeth. There we go. Okay, I've got that bit done. Now, this bit I think is going to be quite hard. Okay. No, didn't get it. Not at all. Well, in our big Bible story today, there's a man with a withered hand. That means only one of them would work and the other one had no energy, it had no strength, so it couldn't work properly. So as you listen to the story, can you find out, what did Jesus do for the man? What day was it? And how did the Pharisees react? Before we read, there's one word that you need to know so that you can have a special listen for it in today's story. It's the word Sabbath. The Sabbath day was one day in the week which God made a special day for people to rest and to enjoy God by worshipping Him. Okay, let's dive into today's story. We're going to read in Mark chapter 3, verses 1 to 6. And Jesus entered the synagogue, and a man was there with a withered hand. And they watched Jesus to see whether he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. And he said to the man with the withered hand, "Come here." And he said to them, "Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save life or to kill?" But they were silent. And he looked round at them with anger, grieved at their hardness of heart, and said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was restored. The Pharisees went out and immediately held counsel with the Herodians against him, how to destroy him. This true story from the Bible is all about Jesus doing something good on the Sabbath day and people getting angry at Jesus for doing good on the Sabbath because it broke their extra rules. Remember, the group of people in this story are called the Pharisees. Everyone thought that they were good people because it looked like they obeyed all of God's laws by making and keeping even more laws than God had given. But God's law is all about loving God and loving others. Loving others looks like helping people, doing good to people, doesn't it? In this story, Jesus asked these Pharisees a question about this very thing. On this special day to worship God, should we do good to people or harm to people? Should we save life or kill life? But the Pharisees kept silent. They didn't answer the question. They were being stubborn. It's as if they were crossing their arms and refusing to listen. Jesus gets angry at them. It's a sad sort of anger because he knew that they had hard, unloving hearts. A way to picture that is like they had stone hearts, not soft and warm, but hard and cold. It was sin in their hearts that made them hate what Jesus was doing. And so when Jesus healed the man's hand, these hard, stone-hearted people went and made plans to kill Jesus. Remember, God's laws are about loving. And remember, one of the 10 Commandments is don't kill. These Pharisees, who thought that they were law keepers, were now definitely law breakers. Jesus came to do good for this man with the withered hand, but the Pharisees hated him for it and wanted to do evil to God's king. Well, that story tells us something really sad, doesn't it? It tells us that not everybody is going to love and follow Jesus. Not everyone wanted to have Jesus as their friend. Even though he did wonderful things to help people and make their lives better, some people always found a reason to hate Jesus. Maybe you know people who don't love and follow Jesus. Some people will be like the Pharisees. They won't want to hear or see the amazing things that Jesus has done. But some people just don't know about Jesus yet. They've not heard the wonderful things he came to do. They don't know that he really does love them. So when we have friends or family who don't love or follow Jesus, we should love them by telling them all about who Jesus is. God's special promised king came to make hard hearts into soft hearts. He can do impossible things. I wonder if you can think of someone who you wished would have a soft heart and follow Jesus the King. After the video, pray for that person and tell God all about them. Ask God to give them a soft heart that will follow Jesus. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Jesus with these videos. He's amazing, isn't he? There's so much to learn about who Jesus is and the kingdom that he brought to earth. You can keep finding out more about Jesus by reading the rest of Mark's Gospel here in the Bible. I hope you will listen to what Jesus says to you. Follow him and keep loving him every single day. And remember, he will always be with you. Well, that's all for now. See you again soon.